Hi, I'm Miss Cleveland, and today I'm going to be presenting a science lesson. And in science and in life, we need to make observations. We need to do it to exist, and we just are constantly making observations of the world around us. And today's lesson is going to focus on the difference between observations and inferences. So let's check it out. Before I start presenting my slide here, I do want to remind you that on your end, after you've split the screen, I would like you to pull up the observation and inference, the goat by the water, Google document for you to take notes as we progress through the slide. For my class, you can find this on our Schoology page for this week. I'm also going to be sharing this PowerPoint, so instead of watching the video, if you want to go back and review any part of it, when you open, it's actually a Google slide, not a PowerPoint, excuse me, you can simply click the present button and it will take over your whole screen. So, making observations and inferences. The goat by the water is the example we're going to be using. And before we dig into exactly what an observation is and an inference, I'd like you to jot down what you think it is. Take a moment to please pause this video and write down in your own words, if someone is going to make an observation, what do you think that is? Pause it, and I'll be right here. All right, so you're back. Let's see how similar what you wrote is to the technical definition. So observation or observations is a noun. Of course, the verb form would be observe. The first way to take a look at that is the act of attentive watching, perceiving, or noticing using our five senses. One word in there that you might say, well, what is it exactly to perceive? And perceiving is when someone becomes aware of something. You might not have seen it before, but by paying attention to it, now you're noticing it. You can write down that definition in the area for the definition on your notes page, or maybe this next one will help you out. The data measured, collected, perceived, or noticed, especially during an experiment. I know my face is in the way of that little N for you, but take a moment right now to please pause this video and copy down one of those two definitions and see how similar it is to what you were thinking. I'll be here when you get back. All right, inference. This is also a noun. The verb form of that would be infer. Maybe this is a word you're not familiar with. Maybe you've heard about it, perhaps even in language arts. In your own words, write down what you think it is. Pause this video and play it when you're ready. An inference is a noun. Again, the verb form is infer. One way to define it is a logical conclusion based on observations. Or the story or guess, sometimes scientists call them educated guesses, about what happened or what will happen. So, again, please pause the video and copy one of those two definitions, whatever makes more sense in your head, onto your note sheet. All right, this is it. The goat by the water. Take a moment to just look at this picture. Now, while it's a picture, as far as our five senses, we really have to just base it on what we're seeing. And I'd like you to pause this video while you dig in and write down on your note sheet 3 observations about this picture and 2 inferences. If you'd like to, you could always look back up to the definitions as you're doing it. Again, if you make mistakes, we're just learning, so do your best. Now, you just made your own observations, and I also have some other statements here of observations as well as inferences. So in this activity, this next part of the form, I would like for you to write down OBS for, what do you think? Observation, or INF for inference. In the blanks, I know when you type it on your form, it'll kind of make that line a little bigger. That's okay. For just these 5. So you're going to pause the video and just complete the first 5. When you come back, we'll go over the answers. And if you're making any mistakes, we can kind of look at those before we continue. All right. So the first part, the kid is in the water, is an observation. We could see it. The weather is cold. We really are not sure. We could guess it might be, but we're not sure. We can see the tree branch is broken, so it's an observation. If the kid crawled out of the water, the goat would push him or her. There's no evidence in that picture, so that would be an inference. The kid fell off the branch. Again, another inference. Moving on, now you can pause this if you need time to go in and make corrections where you might have made a mistake. I'm going to move on to the next set. And while I wait for you, actually, I'm not going to wait in the video because that would make it a long video. I just want you to, again, hit pause while you complete them. Again, just the next 6 through 10, so that we could have practice, go over those answers before we move on to the last 6. Pause. And I don't know if this has been confusing for you guys, but this is just a picture. Your pause button will be below. So, sorry if that has been confusing. You're back, I hope. All right, so let's see. The goat is standing by the pond. Observation. The branch will fall on the kid's head. That's a prediction. So it's an inference. Based on what it sees, that could be a possibility, but it is a prediction. The kid fell off the rocks is an inference. There's rocks there, but we're not sure if he fell off. There is a sailboat in the water. Observation. The sailboat belongs to the kid. Inference. All right, so there's a typo here. It says complete these next 6, these 5, and there's 6 here. So do the same thing. Oops, sorry about that. I just gave away the first one. Take a moment to complete those last couple. And when you're done, push play so we can see. Can you get a 6 out of 6 on this? I hope so, because I just gave you one of them. Pause it, and we'll be back. All right, so that first one is an inference. The goat will soon leave the pond. The tree by the pond has no leaves. Observation. There are 3 rocks in the pond. Can you guess it? Call it out before I do. Observation. The tree by the pond is dead. Inference. It could look dead, but we're not quite sure, so it's an inference. If it rains, leaves will grow on the tree. Well, again, we're not sure if it's dead, so that would be an inference. These get a little tougher, I think. And last but not least, the goat pushed the kid into the pond. Now, that would look really funny, but it's not an observation. That would be an inference, because we don't see that action happening. It would be interesting if I had you watch a video instead. So the last part, I am sorry. Again, if you need to make any corrections to your sheet, pause it so that you can make the corrections before I move on. I'm going to move on. And this last part is to make your own inference. So in a collection, you might have made a statement or two, but I want you to have more fun with it. Think about the possibilities here and write a story about what you think did happen or what will happen based on the clues and the evidence that you have been able to observe in this picture. Pause the video until you are done. And as you come back, this form should look pretty familiar that you just worked through. This one line will open up into a bigger box to provide room for your story. And please don't forget to submit this whole document on Schoology. So that means when you go back into Schoology, you'll see the blue submit button. All right, I hope you feel a lot better about knowing the difference between observations and inferences. Bye.